Now, I've been watching a few booktube channels recently, and I'm quite enjoying them. I've seen some really interesting videos, and I've had some great books recommended to me by these channels. I like learning about a book I haven't heard of through someone who is really passionate about it. And I thought I could do this for one of my favourite books by one of my favourite authors. A quick search informed me that the work of Iain Banks is grossly underrepresented on this platform, and indeed in the wider online reading community. His work is beloved by a great number of people, so I was surprised to see the lack of attention online. I did find some discussion of his science fiction work, published under the pen name Iain M. Banks, which I enjoy, but I'm not as familiar with. That doesn't speak to the quality of it, by the way, just that I don't read as much science fiction as I do literary fiction and other genres. I should start reading more of it in the future. Regardless, I've decided to make this video to recommend The Wasp Factory, a fascinating black comedy with some horror elements. It was Iain Banks' finest novel in my opinion. That belief is shared by Simon Pegg, who, along with Edgar Wright, included an obscure joke about Banks' differing pen names and the type of person who might be drawn to specific genres in their 2007 movie, Hot Fuzz. It's really nice that Banks is included in such an excellent and generally beloved film. Unfortunately, he passed away far too young in 2013 at the age of 59 due to gallbladder cancer. If even a couple of you decide to check out The Wasp Factory, or any of his other novels for that matter, then I will be pleased and feel like I've done my job. This recommendation will not reveal anything that is not revealed very early in the novel, so you don't have to worry about major spoilers. The Wasp Factory centres around Frank Coltame, a strange 16-year-old who lives on an island in the north of Scotland with his father. Frank acts as our narrator, and Banks uses this narration very effectively as a vehicle for the black comedy. The way Frank nonchalantly reveals some of the horrible things he has done in the past is often very funny, but at the same time, living in this demented person's head is certainly unsettling. An example of this is early on when Frank states, "2 years after I killed Blythe, I murdered my young brother Paul for quite different reasons than I'd disposed of Blythe, and then a year after that I did for my cousin Esmeralda more or less on a whim. That's my score to date, 3. I haven't killed anybody for years, and don't intend to ever again. It was just a stage I was going through." We learn of Frank's other idiosyncratic and dangerous hobbies, as well as his calculated rituals, all of which point to someone who you would not want to encounter in real life. The way he describes these rituals, such as his use of the titular Wasp Factory, and is constantly justifying them, shows the audience that Frank believes he is following a religion of sorts, one of his own creation. On some level, Banks set out to satirise religion, and he succeeds. These rituals are a pertinent aspect of Frank's life. There are higher powers that Frank pays reverence to, and he provides examples of when he believes that they have guided him successfully. Banks pays his own reverence to the power of religion, which is important. A lot of religious satire fails because it underestimates the effect someone's faith has on their life, and fails to understand why they practice it. In this respect, Banks is never unnecessarily cruel. Unnecessarily cruel, however, would be an apt description of both Frank and his father, and the dialogue between the two is absolutely excellent. The reader will instantly understand what kind of relationship these two have, and how that has affected Frank growing up. Frank's tales from when he was as young as 5 suggest that both the nature of his lineage and the nurture, or lack thereof, from his father contributed to how he is. The situation is not cut and dry, and that is more interesting to the reader as they learn more and more throughout. Frank describing his murders is creepy, but at the same time very amusing. The reader learns about Frank's creative methods, and his deliberate performance after each murder to avoid suspicion and blame. The most outright chilling scene is described in the 9th chapter, What Happened to Eric. Every time I read this book, I shudder slightly when I read about what caused Frank's older brother Eric to lose his mind. To say the Coltame family has issues would be quite the understatement. Even the family home, on its island, is detached from the nearby village physically, as well as the deeper disconnect in personality and morals. The setting description throughout is really good stuff. The island is almost a character on its own due to Banks' excellent use of personification. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything, so that's all I'll say about The Wasp Factory. I hope I've encouraged you to give it a try. If you've read it already, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.